We're already live on Facebook, guys. We're just waiting to start the radio show live. So hello, everybody on Facebook. We will start the show shortly.
Hi, everyone. Glad you can make it. I'm so happy you're here. And thanks for emailing us and telling us you're going to be here. It's so exciting. We have a great guest today, A.J. Barrera. We're so glad you're here. It's a special show for us today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much. I
Aw.
appreciate it.
Yeah, we're excited. So when the music starts, then we have to be quiet, and then the show starts.
Mhm.
And because it'll be on Voice America then.
Okay.
And then Josh, don't forget, Josh types all the comments there for us so that we know who's on hold and stuff.
Okay.
And I'll post questions there that I get from the emails.
All right, we got about 20 more seconds.
Welcome to Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed with mediums Kelly Eckhart and Cheryl Murphy. Over the next hour, you'll hear engaging conversations that will guide you in your own journey of personal growth and transformation. Now, here are your hosts, Kelly Eckhart and Cheryl Murphy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Seeing Beyond Living Transformed, a Voice America and Empowerment Channel live internet radio. We want to say good afternoon to you today. It's a very, very special show. The title for our show today is EVP's Ghost and Hauntings, Oh My. We are on episode 14 and we have a special guest. We're going to be telling you more about A.J. Barrera in just a moment. But first, I'd like to say hello to my colleague, medium Kelly Eckhart. Hi, Kelly. How are you today?
I am great. And I'm excited for the show. And I love AJ, so I'm so excited he's here with us.
It's awesome. We have been wanting to have AJ on our show right from the beginning, so we're very flattered that he was able to make the time. If I could, I'd like to read a little bit about AJ Barrera's biography to you. Los Angeles. So AJ's from Los Angeles. Los Angeles psychic medium AJ Barrera serves as a bridge between the physical world and those who are crossed over in the afterlife. When working with spirit, AJ captivates thousands of clients and audience members with his down-to-earth style, along with his stunning accuracy and his ability to convey messages from the spirit world. His bio goes on. AJ, we want to welcome you to the show. AJ Barrera, just let me say, has been on so many TV shows and radio shows. We want to ask him all about everything. So first, let's begin just by saying hello and thank you so much for being on our show today.
Cheryl, Kelly, thank you so much for having me. I know the list goes on and on with all that stuff, but I've been blessed. I've been doing this work for 20 years, and it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing.
Oh my gosh. So many people have called in, emailed me and Kelly even earlier this week, asking, when are you going to be on, asking about questions about you and the EVPs and paranormal and, do spirits get stuck? So I know we have lots and lots to talk about, but why don't we just begin by saying, AJ Barrera, like, how did you come into this field as a psychic medium? You're an intuitive investigator also. You help find missing persons. You work with paranormal. Please tell us about yourself.
Absolutely. So, my journey is a little bit different than most people. I never had a near-death experience. I never saw spirit at the foot of my bed. I never had anything really, quote unquote, paranormal that happened to me that caused me to kind of fall into this work. Nor did I lose someone that was close to me that made me feel like that, oh, I want to seek out to understand the afterlife. For me, it was more so curiosity than anything else. I grew up watching, the X-Files, Twilight Zone, I Dream of Jeannie, Bewitched, the unexplained, you name it. I watched all that
Yes.
stuff. I was fascinated by that work, but at the same time, I wanted to understand. I was like Fox Mulder. I wanted to believe. I wanted to know there was more out there. And when it came into the spiritual work, I grew up watching certain television shows after school, which were talk shows, which were Sally Jesse Raphael, Jenny Jones, Montel, all these different people that had intuitives, psychics, and mediums on the television show. And they had people in the audience, and they told them, what to say, what to do, is my theory on it. So I'm like, there's no way people have the ability to communicate with the other side. There's no way people have the ability to talk to the dead or give advice. I'm like, I was all like, it's all set up. This is all Hollywood. This is all planned out. So for me, I kind of went on my own journey of trying to read everything that I possibly can. I was like a sponge. I wanted to know everything. So I was even checking out books in junior high school at my library, and also the public library, which, the book section only had maybe like 10 books on the new age back then. So for me, there wasn't a big, library to read on. And it was basically reading the same book over and over because there wasn't anything else to check out. So now we're kind of at a phase that, there's so many different books and internet and all that stuff to research, and so many intuitives out there. But I think the learning process for me was, again, being not skeptical, but trying to understand the ability of intuition. Because now that I do this work for a livelihood, I realize that we're all intuitive. We all have this intuition. We're not all maybe mediums, if you will. We can train to have those mediumistic abilities. But for me, it was really kind of putting my hands into everything. So the way things kind of got started was I was let me see. I was in sixth grade, so I was in junior high school. So I had a deck of tarot cards, the Writer's Deck, which is the original card deck. It's somewhere behind me on my bookshelf. It's still the same card set that I have. And I used to read my peers in junior high school. I used to tell them what I saw, what I felt, predict things. And you could imagine I was such the popular kid in junior high school. Yeah, right. So for me, it was a sense of like being kind of like a loner, if you will. Like I wasn't really the popular kid, obviously, but I always joke around with people saying that, my best friend was the wind and the tree. You know what I mean? So I was all about nature and grounding and protection. And, I was really trying to understand myself because I was a quiet, shy guy. I kept to myself. I didn't say much, and I think those cards were obviously a tool for me to be who I was, but also a tool literally to help me tap into my psychic work and then my mediumship work. So after those 3 years of reading tarot cards in junior high school, my high school teacher and my mentor, Ellen Marin, she's the one that told me that I had mediumistic abilities. I had no idea that I had mediumistic abilities. All I knew, I was able to see auras, read the cards, and sense this, and give predictions and insight to people. So I'm like, mediumship, talking to the dead, like this came out of left field because I was fascinated with it, but did not know how to tap into it. So she's the one that kind of guided me. I didn't really take any classes. I didn't take any workshops. It was all naturally, it was innate ability that I naturally had. It was naturally there. So for me, I was working with her. I had her for 4 years, and I had her for TA, biology, science, art, AP art, like everything else, because I wanted to spend so much time with her to learn about this work. And it's not in a weird way. You know how things now today with teachers and students, it's like, oh, it's like taboo. Back then it was different, and I need to make this very clear. My mom worked for the district, so she worked at the same school. Unfortunately, my mom, every school that I transferred to, from like elementary to junior high to high school, my mom was at every freaking school. So I never got to leave her. So no matter what I did, she was always in my business, or I wouldn't say in my business, but always with us. And my mom respected it, and I think she thought it was a phase that I was going through. So, over the years, for those 4 years working with Ellen Marin, and bless her heart, she might actually be watching or sharing this or rewatching this as well. And she's just one of those people that really, allowed me to fly. At age 19 and a half, I was going to the JC college and trying to, I wanted to be a firefighter. I wanted to be in law enforcement. That didn't happen because spirit had another plan for me. God, universe, divine, whatever you want to call it, the higher beings opened up that door. So at age 19 and a half was when I landed my first radio opportunity. I didn't have a website, didn't have a business line, didn't have a phone number. All I had was a sound, I think just my sound number. So I got called in to be screened on this radio show, which is Coast 103.5 in Burbank, which is Love Songs on the Coast in Burbank. And they had the show Angels of Waiting, and they called me in and they had me screen like 6 different callers and read for them, from, Kansas, New York, wherever. It was just over the telephone.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it was a moment of like the super producer, Jerry Belmonte, who's now passed on, bless his heart, and Sean Valentine at the time, who's I think still actively involved in radio. And once that happened, they said, "Hey, I'll see you next week." And so that one appearance turned into a gig for like 5 years, and I became, on that, and that's how my career started. And I was giving out my cell number on the first appearance, like, "Oh, nothing's going to come of this. I'm not going to do this for a living." Yeah, that was a bad move. And so I ended up changing my number, build a website, and I did not even know any of that stuff. I was 19 and a half. I wasn't big into technology and social media. So
That's
again, God's spirit
awesome.
opened that door for me to do what I do. And now I work with families, with missing persons, or I work with law enforcement now, years later, full circle of doing this work
Yeah.
today. So it's truly a blessing.
That's just fascinating. I love that, you didn't, it's almost like you didn't get a choice. Spirit's like, no, 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 no. We're not going to waste time. Here you are. Let's go. And they just shoved you where you needed to be. And you just went with it, and I think that's so
Absolutely.
awesome. If we could all like kind of learn that it took me till I was 40, I just ignored my gift. But I think what an amazing life though, to have that at such a young age,
Yeah,
and you've had so many opportunities.
right. And for me, you have to kind of, I tell people you have to understand no one really wanted to help me out. Like, no one really wanted to be there, especially back then, because, and I don't want to sound rude about this, but I'm very honest. I'm very blunt about this work.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the field come from a place of ego. You think they would come from a place of love. So it becomes competition and this and that. And there are people that were upset because my rates were way lower than theirs, and I was taking food out of their mouth. Like, it was kind of that thing. So there was a sense of like, there's a lot of dead people to go around, respectfully.
There's
Like,
plenty of
you're
dead
not the
people.
only medium. I'm not the only medium. There's a lot of people that are out there. So I kind of rubbed me the wrong way, and I did not want to be involved in that clicky type of thing and all about the ego, this and that. So I remember, something that my mom told me, and it's a quote. I don't know if it's Oscar Wilde. I can't remember who it's by, but it's a quote of remember the people on the way up, because on the way down you're going to pass the same people. So I feel like that when you're in the work, it comes from a place of love, plain and simple, place of love, not a place of ego. So for
Right.
me, it was about really experiencing that. And, I did not go looking for radio shows, TV shows, appearance. It all came organically because, again, I really didn't have a website. So they were giving out my number and things led to another. And that's how, again, my career, quote unquote, as a psychic medium became a career. I couldn't remember the time putting it down on my taxes of psychic medium. It was kind of like, holy crap, like this is what I do. Like, I'm owning this. And it's kind of one of those things, but here I
That's
am. Here I
awesome.
am. I'm blessed and fortunate.
Yeah. And you still now, like even now you work with law enforcement, you teach, but I know a lot of people don't know what an EVP is. They don't know about a lot of things. I have a specific question because somebody's already asked this
Okay.
in the email. Do you believe that spirits could get stuck? And if so, why do they get stuck?
I wouldn't call it necessarily stuck. I would call it residual energy, something that's repetitive. And this is what we would consider also very similar to a haunting. So a haunting is where something is replaying over and over.
Yeah.
So if someone died in a very tragic way, say for me, the Queen Mary, I've gone to the Queen Mary many times in Long Beach and documented, and there's a lot of things that I've captured over the years, which is freaking amazing. But I see that as one residual energy, but also quote unquote a haunting, because they replay that scene over and over in events, and also the EVPs that capture, which people don't know what EVPs are, which stand for electronic voice phenomenon, where you actually capture the spirit through the white noise, or otherwise you hear spirit on a recorder and you play it back within a couple minutes, a couple seconds, or at the end of your investigation to analyze all the footage. But residual energy could be, again, the land, the home, the property, could be many different things. That's that. Then there's a haunting, which is spirit, replaying itself over and over again. There are people that say they can claim to get rid of spirits. I don't know if you can really get rid of them, because it's like an attachment. It's where they're part of. So it's kind of like you have to coexist with them and respect their energy, where they were at and what happened in that moment, if that makes sense, or if that answers the question.
Well, and that would be the other question that we're getting asked a lot. We've got somebody who is a realtor, and what was their question here? House clearing. So she's a real estate broker, and she's had houses that had deaths, and there's still energy that doesn't want people in the house. How would you deal with this? Do you believe the energy doesn't want people in the house?
It's tough, because it's how we approach it, how we approach that vibration, that energy. So again, if you're coming from a place of love and not antagonizing and not provoking that spirit and not being angry or yelling at it and saying, you got to get out, you got to leave, you're creating that negativity, that energy. So when you go into that home, either, selling the home, living in it, renting it, you want to go in there and welcome that energy. Like when I first moved in the house where I'm at today, there was just crazy energy, and I make sure that I protect the house, bless the house, and I did simple things, which is simple of with sage, palo santo. I used sea salt in the corners, did everything that I can, because it was so toxic, so heavy. I recommend people to do things that make you feel right. Like for me, I'm not a crystal expert, but I have a bunch of crystals here in my office. I have crystals in my living room, my dining room, everywhere to protect the home. And so for me, I feel like it's also grounding and protecting the home itself. What I recommend for anyone, and you said she was a real estate agent. So for her, if she's sensing things, perhaps, wear, a crystal, or keep a rock, if it's an amethyst, or certain stones in your purse, in your pocket, to protect you. So you're not attracting that energy into your own personal life, or taking it home to your kids, your husband, or so on and so forth. But if you are living in a home with a spirit, ghost, energy, I'm just going to call it an entity. And when I say the word entity, I think people freak out because of the movie, The Entity. So I feel like it's just energy.
Not a good word, right?
Yeah, just be welcoming, talk to it, let them know that you're around. What do you want? And what's going to happen is that you may not actually get like this message of like this big sign. It might be something very subtle, as your own thought. When you hear your own thought, that might be spirit's way communicating with you, letting you know, like, hey, this is my place, this is my home, so we have to pay attention to those subtle signs and those little signs that spirit is sending us. So in those moments, again, ground, protect, communicate, and come from a place of love.
That's, and that's great. Like I've always felt like spirit doesn't get stuck, right? But recently my ex-husband passed, and I know I've told everybody about this. He was very a negative person, very abusive and mentally ill, and he passed in the home. And we were clearing the house out, my husband and I, because it was too much for my daughter. And we found a bunch of guns. He was a gun lover. And we put them all in the back closet while we were cleaning the house out. And I've got a 15-year-old son who's fascinated with guns, but has never ever touched one. But he's trying to convince me he could take the I don't know anything about guns, but put the safety on for me. But I'm like, you're not touching those guns because it's a semi-automatic, right? Like you stay away from the guns. There's all these guns in the closet. And my son went back to the back room where the guns were, and the closet slammed shut.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, my ex is here and he's telling you no. And then 100%. There was another closet. So some of the doors kept slamming on us that we were going to clean. And it was sentimental stuff. I mean, his mother lived in the house, and the house had been in the family 70 years. And she didn't throw away anything. So it was difficult. And I could feel her, and I just kept talking to the spirits, to my ex-mother-in-law and to my ex-husband, going, we're trying to make the house happy again. We're trying to make the love come back into it. We're going to take care of your stuff nicely. Like we're going to make sure it goes to good people, and 100%. I feel like, that I did feel the spirit kind of back up. And so I had never experienced that. And like I said, I had previously, because I had never experienced it, I was like, I don't know if it's true. But now I kind of get it, I don't think they would have attacked. I think the door slamming was to protect my son. Again, I don't think spirit 100%. Attacks people. I think people attack people.
It feels It feels like maybe when we say a house is haunted, I mean, sometimes, or maybe most of the time, or in your experience, is it the spirit world maybe asking for help in some way, and it just comes across as scaring the bejesus out of us, kind of thing? Is that how it is? Is that what's
Yeah,
happening
I
here?
would say, yeah, Cheryl, I think that's, a great question because I think a lot of us, who are not familiar with the afterlife or paranormal or metaphysics, whatever, depending on what you want to call it, but we fear of the unknown. So
Mm.
we're fearful of what we don't know. So, anytime people see, say, a shadow person or apparition and it's black, they think it's negative because we associate negativity in a certain way of how we were taught or how we were, taught of religion of like, oh, anytime you see, the devil, this is whatever, I don't know. But I just feel like
Yeah.
that association is anything. And I think we need to remove the stigma of paranormal being bad or evil or so
The
on and so forth.
fear.
Like I tell people like when I use my devices or I use like a Ouija board or so on and so forth, Ouija board has a bad, taboo. Again, it's just a tool to
Yes.
communicate with the other side. If you learn how to open and close it, it's the right thing. So I feel like that the stigma to people thinking it's a negative thing. Most of the time, they just want to talk to you. They want to communicate. They want to make sure that that they're around. Think of it as your loved ones. Saying that they're in like this kind of bulletproof glass. You can see them, but you can't hear them. So they're yelling, trying to get your attention by moving things in your home and this and that. But at the same time, you're like wondering, like, I can't hear you. I can see what you're doing, but I can't hear you. So it's us about making that connection and raising our vibration as spirit lowers down theirs, and we make that bridge and we make that connection.
Yeah, they're making noise. They're wanting our attention, right? So we're kind of just thinking it's afraid, as you said, because it's the unknown, but really it's about them maybe just saying hello, or them just reaching us in some way, because we are
Right.
all very, very open these days, and with our sensitivity, and people are having these spiritual awakenings, and we're all becoming more empathic. And it sounds like you were at a very young age growing up in school.
Oh
I,
yeah.
I have to say you're an empath, right? Very much
Oh,
so.
absolutely. Yeah, I just sense the energy, even just around people. Like, this will sound so weird, and I hope this does not come off the wrong way, but I'm not a big like people person. Like, I have a small group of people that that I hang out with, or that I choose to hang out with because I'm so protective of like my energy or feeling, I don't know. I think because I've been guarded because I had people over the years, take advantage of me or
Mhm.
use me for different reasons, different things,
Right.
just to kind of benefit themselves in their career, their business, and so on and so forth. And
Yes.
I'm respectable. I'm very grounded. I'm down to earth. But I just want to make sure that the people that are around me are people that are serving my energy as well, that bring that balance, and I want to make sure I'm doing the same for them. So it's just like someone who who loves chocolate, but you eat so much chocolate then you get sick of it. It's kind of the same thing. Sometimes you can have a lot of good energy, sometimes you can have a lot of bad energy. You have to get rid of the both good and bad, but also have that balance. But I am pretty private, though. A lot of people know that I don't share a lot about my personal background or history about my family, certain stories and so on and so forth. But I still like my privacy just like anyone else. And I think by going into this field, you're kind of put out there as in the public field to really do the work and start working with different people, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can all learn that is to, have boundaries, but also to live a balanced lifestyle, and to really, keep our energy right, and have it be something that we give accordingly, but also to practice receiving love from our friends or from other people. It's that we really have to be more aware of our energy, just giving and receiving. Where is our energy, at this very moment? Type of thing, and that really helps us
Balance.
connect with the spirit world, right? It does. It helps us
Yep.
more able to receive them, or able to perceive them. Yeah.
And I know in the
Yeah.
beginning, when I first started working, I had a hard time balancing my family life with the work because I felt like I wasn't giving enough to the work. And then I felt like I didn't have enough for family. And it took me a while to figure out that balance and set those boundaries. And, my favorite thing was I just stopped answering my phone and I let everything go to voicemail because I kept answering calls and I was on the phone all the time because you get stuck talking, you know? and you feel bad. I'm an empath. Like I want to help everybody. So it's hard. Yeah. I mean, I get it. And I know I've met your wife and you, and I like really love hanging out with you too. You're so down to earth and you're just like fun people. And I think that, I love the way that you have that balance, because I know you two have a lot of fun together, and then you also have the work. It's like you've got this great separation, and I love that about you.
You have to, when this whole, and I'm laughing about this because I'm sure a lot of people can, can vouch for this or understand this. So when the whole situation happened with this pandemic, closing down, I have my two offices. I had the one in West Covina, I had the one in Irvine. I ended up closing them down because I knew we weren't going to reopen within 2 months. I immediately shut them down, canceled all my events. I was touring, had everything, had to cancel my flights, hotels, all that stuff, because I knew this wasn't going to be something new. So the fact that I, started saying I'm just going to go virtual permanently, just do virtual readings permanently, a lot of people were like, "Oh, you can still do the work, over the internet." I'm like, I've done it over the radio for years. Like, I think people have the misconception of thinking that you need to be in front of a medium or you're going to get a better reading or this and that. It works the same way. Energy is energy. All I do is tap into a person's voice, not
Right.
so much their physical being or looking at them on camera or so on and so forth. It's just their voice I tap into, which is validation or communicating back is key, because it's what helps brings that that validation and that energy and builds that energy as well. So since I've been working from home, this is one of the offices here. It's kind of like, how can I say this? I think my wife thinks I'm kind of like a stale fish. I've been around in the house way too long. Like I need to get out. Like go stop working from home. Go find an office. Go do something. And I'm sure
Yeah.
most husband or wives or boyfriends or girlfriends can recognize that. Like, oh my God, you're working from home. Like, can't you go do something? Like go out. And now what I do, for me to get out of the house, I go grocery shopping. I go to Home Depot. I go to Lowe's just to get out of the house, and I don't need anything, just to walk around. So give us some little bit separation. But I'm sure people can relate of having someone around so often, the energy does change. And I think that's about, again, having that balance in your life, is that as long as you have that balance with your significant other, everything works out. Everything works out.
That's great. I mean, I love hearing about your life, AJ, and it's just amazing, to get to know you. I've attended one of your demonstrations in person a few years back, and it was fantastic. I learned so much from just watching you demonstrate, bringing through the deceased loved ones for other people. And then just to tell you, I did take a class from you on the Queen Mary with Allison Gannon, a paranormal class. So Kelly was
Yes.
probably there or
I
took
was
one of
there.
them.
Yes.
Amazing paranormal experiences working with you, AJ. And
Yes.
and while we're we're going to go to break in just a second, but I just want to tell everyone who's listening, please check out AJ Barrera's website. It's ajbarrera.com. And AJ does do these audience demonstrations online. He has some events coming up, and you'll find that out on his upcoming events page. Also, as Kelly mentioned, AJ, you're a teacher. We're going to ask you more after the break about teaching, but you teach psychic investigation, right? Which is
Yes.
amazing. That's a
Hugely popular.
whole other. I mean,
Yes.
that is so many people are interested in psychic investigation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are.
It's something that I love to do. And, I know that's something that we can cover in the next half of the show. So I'm looking forward to
Yeah.
sharing that.
Yeah. And are we going to take calls, Cheryl, or are we going to just keep talking?
Well, I think we should take a call or two. And
Yeah.
if anyone wants to email us your questions, it's questions@seeingbeyondradio.com. Be sure you go to Kelly and mine's internet radio website, seeingbeyondradio.com, just to tell you we'd love to have you sign up for our mailing list and be part of our community. But for everyone who's watching, we want to say stay tuned till after the break. We have lots more to come. We're with AJ Barrera, who is an amazing psychic medium, a psychic investigator, a paranormal expert. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You're clear.
Thank you, Josh. So while we're on break, there's a question I posted in here in the chat box from Frank Sullivan.
Okay.
If you want to read that, I thought it was interesting, but we were in I didn't want to interrupt the conversation. But I don't know if you want to touch on that at all. And if you're listening in on Facebook, Frank, we might touch on this.
Interesting.
Oh, and he's on YouTube watching this. So
Okay.
there's that one. And then we got a little one from another little question from Michelle Krantz. She's for you. It says, I've been told there's a little boy spirit in my childhood home, which is over 100 years old. And she wants to know if we can tell her about him. So I was going to say, Michelle, for that one, you'd probably want to call in so we can get validation.
So do you want me to answer Frank's question right now since he's watching on YouTube, or?
Well, what do you think? We should just do it after the break?
Yeah, let's make it just we can quickly Kelly, I don't know, can you quickly just address the question and then AJ can read it. AJ, you can
like a
address
Cliff
it and
Note
then
type of
answer
thing.
it.
Yeah.
That'd be great. And everyone who's watching live Facebook and YouTube, we're so excited. We have AJ Barrera here. I mean, talk about paranormal, ghost, and EVPs. Oh my! I mean, it's such a great show. We hope you're enjoying it. Please contact AJ on his website, ajbarrera.com. And thanks for joining us.
We're coming back in just a couple
on...
seconds, and I'll have a list of callers for you in just a minute. Still got people calling in.
Thank you.
You're listening to Seeing Beyond, Living Transformed with Kelly and Cheryl. If you have questions for the hosts or guests, you can join us on the show at 888-346-9141. That's 888-346-9141. Now let's get back to the show. Here again are Cheryl and Kelly.
Welcome back, everybody. We're here with AJ Barrera, and we are talking about lots of cool things like EVPs, ghosts, hauntings, things like that. Having a very exciting conversation. And we're also going to be taking some calls here. But just before the break, we got an email from Frank Sullivan, and he was explaining some experiences his wife has had where she's felt like she was being attacked on one occasion. They heard footsteps and things. And so, AJ, I think you were going to touch on that just a little bit. He is listening in on YouTube, and then we're going to take a call right after this.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So a couple of things that could be happening here is that it could be, in a very interesting way as what we see as out-of-body experiences or someone astral traveling. So your wife can be having these out-of-body experiences where she's astral traveling while you're having this physical presence or while you're seeing things. The reason why I'm saying that, there was a lady many, many years ago that I was doing an investigation, is that she would always wake up and see a child at her bed, and it was a girl, and she goes, it looked exactly like my daughter, this and that, but every time I went to go look at my daughter, she was asleep. And so her daughter was actually having an out-of-body experience, and she was astral projecting to her mother in the hallway. So when you have moments like that, it could be their way trying to let you know that they're out of their body, they're doing this and doing that. I'm sure some of us have had the experience where, we're on cloud 9 and we're great, and also when we wake up in the morning, we feel like a freight train has hit us, like, oh my God, why do I feel so tired? Like, I got the best sleep, but I feel so tired. It's because you're out of your body, you're astral traveling, you're going all over the place and doing these things. So that's just one thing. Now, if we look at things of like having physical touch or having something that's happening to Frank regarding in the home, again, addressing the spirit, talk to the spirit, communicate with it. Perhaps it's being very calm, and I don't see it as you needing to kick it out, because apparently I think it's for 26 years you've been living in that home. You're coexisting, and that's what we need to do. So obviously respect the energy, which seems like what you're doing. It's probably so normal to you now. It's kind of like, it's another day. Yeah, it's another day. So for me, like, people tell me, am I ever afraid of what I do when I go into investigations? No, because I know I work from a place of God and a place of light. So I know what I work with. So I don't attract that energy. So if you're thinking there's something negative or evil, you're going to attract that energy in your home and create that mindset, because the mind is so powerful that you'll try to create something negative in your home, in your life. So for you, Frank, I would just, coexist, continue to do that, talk to that spirit, talk to them out loud. And, if you get a message as a thought, as a feeling, most likely that's how they're communicating with you and let you know that they're around you. But I highly doubt that they're there to harm you. I am afraid more of the living than the dead, to be quite frank, because the living can hurt me. The dead, quote unquote, has not ever done anything bad to me.
That's a great answer.
Great
and
answer, definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree with all of that. Well, let's take our first caller. Anne, are you with us?
Hi there.
Hi.
Thank you so much.
How can we help you today? Do you have a question for AJ or us, or what are you calling for?
I wanted to say thank you in advance. If anything pops up, AJ, from the other side.
Oh, I'm so sorry. One more time.
If anything
Is she still
pops
there?
up from the other side.
She's
From
asking
the
if
other side?
anything pops up from the other side. Yeah. Can you?
Okay. So is there anyone specifically we want to link with? Because I've worked on radio, so I like to move pretty quickly. So is there anyone you want me to specifically link with?
Oh, maybe a grandmother.
So, I'm just going to be very direct. So I want to jump right in here because I actually feel like there's two energies. I feel like more paternal side on mom's side of the energy that I do need to recognize here, that I have a very strong, two strong energies. One would be actually like the contemporary, like her husband, which would then be your grandmother and grandfather. I do need to acknowledge energies. But what's interesting here is that when we acknowledge the grandmother energy, there's a sense with her when she identifies herself that her passing does not feel like this was quote unquote a tragic event. Even though I see every passing as tragic, her body seems like as if I just respectfully just went to sleep, took my last breath, because there's a sense of like, I don't say old age, but natural causes is what I like to say, because she wants to say that I'm here. She's also identifying that we need to acknowledge the month of September being significant, either like a birthday, her death anniversary, but why September significant here as well?
Oh, how wonderful.
Okay, if September makes sense, yeah, if December makes sense to that, I just want to make sure. Okay, and I also need to acknowledge something here, and I don't know how this is going to make sense to you, but I've used a symbol a couple times when Spirit shows it to me. It's been more recently than anything else. But your grandmother's telling me to talk about either her old you know how there's like princess cut like collectibles like glassware, like things of that nature. I don't know if you actually have her china, her glassware, her pots and pans, but there's something about her dishware that she wants to bring up, that she wants to say thank you for taking care of it or thank you for storing it. Does that make sense?
Oh, sure. Yes,
Yeah. Okay.
yes.
Okay, so just make note, because I just feel like it's their way of identifying how they want to come through and how they want to acknowledge you and give you a lot of love and light. But just know, anytime you think about your grandmother, she's merely just a thought away. Okay.
Thank you so much. What a talent.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much, Anne. And anybody else, and everybody who's calling in, remember you're calling Voice America. It is a radio station that is hosting our show, and so they will answer at Voice America, and don't hang up. Okay. And let's take another caller here because we have quite a few on hold. Let's bring on Bridget. Bridget, are you with us? So maybe we don't have Bridget. Should I move on?
Hi, Bridget.
I think we lost Bridget.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can hear you now.
Hi.
Great. Hi,
Okay,
Bridget.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thanks for calling in. Remember, we're on the air. We're doing quick questions or readings. So what would you like, and who would you like to talk to?
Well, I want to see if there's anything from Spirit, and I want to know about my journey too, what he sees for me, and what I've been doing lately. I think I've been astro traveling. I'm a lot more tired than I was, but I just want to know what's going on my journey, and anything from Spirit, please.
Yeah, you know what? So I'm going to tap into this intuitively rather than mediumistically. So what I do want to recognize here, I'm obviously I'm not a doctor. I am not a physician. I don't diagnose. So here's the thing. I need to have you look at your health because I'm kind of concerned about it. It's more so what I'm seeing here is like a sense of not insomnia, but I'm seeing your sleep pattern being very, very difficult. It's not because of just astral traveling, but there's a sense where I feel like that you're kind of like overthinking or overdoing it. And there's also a reference that we need to highlight here, which is quite interesting. By any chance, are you taking anything for like, say, like blood thinners or something along the lines that we need to look up here?
No, I was last year, but I'm not this year. My iron gets pretty low, and I haven't been taking my iron the last few weeks.
Okay,
And,
so and not to interrupt you, Bridget, but I want to make sure that Yeah, I want you to stay on top of that, because what they're showing to me is that there's some sort of issue that's going on with either the iron or the blood thinners. So I feel like there needs to be a balance on that. Again, I'm not a doctor, not a physician, but this is what I'm seeing and sensing. There's also a reference here for you. I want to throw it out there very loosely, and again, maybe try maybe is it a melatonin? So if it's helping you to sleep, sometimes people have bad reactions on the dosage, and some people it doesn't work for certain people where they have like these weird, bizarre dreams. So look in that direction if
Yeah.
you're having very difficult time sleeping. Overall, I do feel like you're healthy in general. And there's also a sense that I do see here. I need to go lower in my body because I feel like that there's a sense of tension. So I don't know if you're retaining a lot of water or
My
you're having a lot of.
ovaries hurt a lot.
Okay. Okay.
I mean, just like where the root is.
Okay, what I want you to do again is really focus on your health, because again, I feel like there's a sense that I feel like I want to go lower into my body as well. So there might be some issues that you are neglecting. The funny thing with you, Bridget, is I feel like that you're kind of like this gal that if this happens, it happens. I'll take care of it when it happens. So I feel like that I want you to be proactive
I
and
am
looking
like
out.
that.
So I just want you to be
Yeah.
proactive and focusing on those areas. I do want to recognize here, though, but I do have a gentleman in the spirit realm that does step forward here. So is Dad already in spirit, please?
Yes.
Okay, I don't know if you're close with him in life, but he wants to immediately say that I'm here for you, and he's actually reaching out his hand. So that's more symbolic for me, as if he wants to make an agreement or make peace. So I don't know if there was difficulty with
Yes.
within that relationship before he passed over, but he wants to make sure that you know that he wants to say I'm sorry and give you love from the other side, and making sure that your heart chakra
Aw.
heals in the way, because I just feel like that you need to know that your dad loved you, and still loves you.
Yeah.
And I just feel like he did not have that opportunity to validate you in the way that you needed to be
Well,
validated. Does that make sense?
yeah, we did it.
Okay.
Well, he left they divorced when I was little, and it was just in and out a few times until I was a teenage years, and then I didn't get to see him a lot. So that's
Just know
why.
your pops is still here in spirit, just to show up to let you know that he's never left you. Maybe physically he's left you, but he's still here in spirit to pay that
I
respect
accept
and
it.
love to
I
you.
love him 100%.
Well, he knows that. This is why he's showing up here. But a lot of love to you, Bridget, and stay active, stay proactive with your health. Do follow up on your iron pills and doing all that stuff, because again, I really feel like it's going to help you kind of make that recovery slow and steady. But I feel overall healthy with you. So, but just know, Dad is looking out for you and sending you some love and light. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Bridget. We appreciate you calling
Thank you.
in.
Thank you so much, Bridget. Loved your energy.
Yes. Very sweet.
Very sweet.
So if you're so I have a couple of people sending me emails asking for a reading. Your best bet to get a reading would be to call in. I don't know how many we're going to get to today, because we're going to end in about 15 minutes or so. So if you want to get a reading, try to get on hold, and we're going to get through as many callers as we can. And if you're on hold or you're calling in for a reading, please be prepared. Like if you have a specific question, if you want a reading from a specific person like Cheryl or myself, or if you just want AJ, let us know right up front so that we can get through you much faster. Okay. So let's bring Sarah on. Are you ready with us, Sarah? Bubbling my words here. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hey, how are you?
Great. How can we help you today?
I was just, I wanted to know if Tristan's going to be okay, and if anyone had a message for me.
What was the name?
Tristan.
Tristan.
Okay. Do you guys want to jump in, or I
Well,
don't want to step on you?
Guys jump in.
You go. You're exciting. Go, AJ. We love it.
I just don't want to step on your guys' toes, because
Not at
this
all.
is your show.
We're like, I'm in awe of you. Go for it.
Okay. So Tristan, the first thing that I heard here was, or actually what I saw with the name was a lot of blue energy. So typically with blue energy, it represents for me someone that's either private, could be, needing to trust. But on the flip side for me, it represents more so what they're going through. So I'm not concerned on a health level. I'm concerned more so kind of like what I would see as their state of mind or the way that they're thinking. So to me, it seems like there might be something repetitive or something that they're going in circles with when it comes down to focusing on maybe their life, career, so on and so forth. if I can be respectful and by asking you this, and I forgot your name, but just to be
Sarah.
respectful,
It's Sarah.
Sarah, is he not going through anything medical wise that's not severe, or I guess that's severe?
He is going through something medical.
Okay, what I feel like as if I want to get him out of it mentally. So there's something about this that I want to move past this. So again, if he's kind of repeating this type of situation energetically, and we talked about this earlier in the first part of the show, the mind is so powerful. We need to change the way of thinking, the change of thought. So if he's kind of saying like, I'm not going to get through this, I want him to manifest or create that vibration. I want to get through this. I want to fight this. I do feel like, though, in a very interesting way, I don't know if there's fluid in his stomach or there's fluid in the lungs, but I feel like I want to go in these areas that I'm highlighting here. Again, I'm not a doctor, not a physician, but overall, I feel like there's like liquid or drainage. It's not blood. So I feel like I might be misinterpreting this on a medical level, but overall, I feel like that would be taken care of. I do see in spirit, to mom's side, that there is a woman in the spirit realm that is looking out here. She's very subtle, like very gentle, very small when she comes through. She's not like this dominant lady that needs to come through, but a very sensitive lady that needs to say like, hey, I'm here. There might be a funny reference here, Sarah, that I need to bring up here, which I don't know if this is going to make sense. But do you remember the old classic, like the black and white of the Beverly Hillbillies?
Mm.
No.
Okay, so I think they just called her by Ma or Ma, you know, the one that was in the rocking chair on the back of it. So I
Yeah.
keep on hearing that like Ma or Grandma like wants to be here. And there's a sense with this that I feel like that she's sending some guidance to how she comes through in a very respectful way. She's just giving me the impression that I'm like here guiding you and protecting you. But again, whatever this fluid thing is regarding to I don't know if Tristan is your son. I was about to say son, but to Tristan,
Yes.
I feel like that we need to highlight that. So is he your son?
Yes.
Okay. So I feel like that we need to highlight. So again, I'm just going to leave it out there again. Whatever this drainage or fluid thing, I want you to look at it. I don't know how that makes sense to him or to you, but I want you to look at it. And I just feel like there's a sense of go to the doctors, a specialist, whatever this thing is. But overall, I feel like I'm good with this.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right,
And
Sarah.
and there was. Thank you so much.
Does this all
Thank you.
resonate with you, Sarah?
The message part didn't, but the rest of it did, definitely.
Okay,
Okay.
perfect. Thank you. Thank you for calling in,
Thank
and I
you.
hope everything goes great with your son.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's bring Michelle on. Michelle, are you here? Michelle, welcome to
Probably
the
takes
show.
might be like a 10-second delay.
Yeah, sometimes they're right there. Well, I think we don't have Michelle anymore. So let's move
Hello?
on. Oh, hi, is this Michelle?
I'm here.
Oh,
Hi,
great.
Michelle.
Can you hear me?
We hear you.
I'm like, I'm here. Hi, AJ. Hi, ladies.
Hi,
Hello,
thank
hello.
you for holding. How can we
I have a
help you?
question for AJ.
Okay.
I've been told that there's a little boy spirit in the house. It's my childhood home that I lived majority of my life, and I moved away for like 20 years, but now I'm back. I was wondering if you could tell me more about him.
Yeah, but so what's interesting here is the first impression I got were actually like livestock, like farms. So I don't know if he actually there was a horse accident or there was some sort of like animal accident, but it's interesting because the place, the way I'm seeing it, does not feel like it would be like a farm area. So it feels like it might be more like, say, city, street, that type of thing. And what's interesting about the little boy, I'm actually seeing him kind of wearing like a more of a like vintage, more of like kind of like this little hat the way he comes through. And he seems like he's about like between 5 and 7. He does not feel like he's about 10 years old. He feels fairly young. But my impression, there may have been a situation relating to the livestock or relating to that, as if there was a disease that caused him to transition. Not so much, again, an accident, but I'm seeing it like an accident, like more of a medical, that he couldn't get medical attention. So what I would do, well, let me ask you, wherever you live, would there be a, do you know if there would have been farmland where you were at, or do you currently have farmland where you're at now?
Back in the day, I'm sure there was. Yeah, I've heard that this area, they grew grapes, but I'm sure it was farmland also.
Okay, so to me, I
Yeah,
feel like that
house
land is
over 100 years old.
Okay, so what I would recommend is really kind of keeping that energy there. I don't feel frightful. I don't feel fearful of the energy. Honestly, I feel like a little bubbly, to be quite frank. And I honestly believe that child, this little boy, is very mischievous how he comes through. So you'll have little things that will move around, and you'll kind of wonder, like, did I just put my keys here, or did I just do this? When you have those subtle things,
Mm-hmm.
I want you to pay attention to saying, "Hey, thank you." And I just heard the word Timmy or Tim or Tommy. So I know there's a T name that's associated either with this boy or with his father, but there's definitely like a Timmy. I'm going to say Timmy because that's the first thing that came to mind more so than anything else. And I feel like it might be his way of associating that. What I do want to put out there for you is that just because I said a name does not mean you have to call him by that, but you can just address them saying, "Hey, how can I help you?" or "Hello." Also, one last thing, and I want to see if Cheryl or Kelly wants to touch in on any of this, but it's interesting because he's saying that he sees you as his mother. He's seen you as like a mother.
Really?
So yeah, so there's a sense that he's associated with you in a very protective, loving way. And I feel like because he did not have that opportunity to have that motherly love to say goodbye. So it's interesting because I feel like there's a sense of attachment, but in a very positive way. So whoever is in the home, if it's you, your sister, your mother, he's going to be associated with the females for sure, rather than the males.
Hmm.
That's interesting
Because
because
I
I
just
also,
live with my father here.
Okay, so mainly it's going to be with you then. So again, the females are going to be very significant. So I really believe just nurture it, talk to him, just know he's not there in any negativity. But again, there's something with an illness, the land. I don't know if it's like tuberculosis. Again, I'm not an expert in health of these things, but just make note to it.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think perhaps that maybe there was like a well, and like
Mm.
the animals, you know, their waste got in the well. That actually happened to a distant family member of mine years ago.
Oh,
So that's
oh,
what came to
okay.
mind about the
Okay.
illness.
yeah,
Okay, makes sense.
I felt the illness too, AJ. I felt that he was sickly and that he passed from that. But I also was getting tuberculosis.
Were you?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah.
Wow.
So, and I don't know. I mean, it was a while ago, and I think that he didn't have good health care. Like, there wasn't a doctor nearby or something.
No.
I agree.
Yeah. Well, that was very interesting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm just glad he's on my side.
Yes.
Well, yeah.
Definitely on your
Yeah.
side. And Michelle, he likes it when you bring flowers into the house. That's what I feel.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
yeah, I do that to
I
cheer
love-
myself up. So I'm glad he likes it too.
He does.
Oh,
That's
I love
beautiful.
that. Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you for calling
you so
in.
much.
Hopefully this answered your question. Thank you
Appreciate
so much.
Yeah, thank you. So we have a few minutes left. Should we just finish up with talking, or you want to take one more caller? What do you want to do, Cheryl?
Well,
Make
let me
make
just
a decision.
let me just share with everyone, AJ Barrera. I mean, I'm looking at your events page on your website, and I noticed that you're coming back in person and starting to do live events. So I just, I'm excited for you. I just want to share your information with people that AJ does have a couple of events coming up. One is online and one is in person. So you can take your pick there. But on Tuesday, May 3rd, he has an evening of spirit messages. It's an online event. So that just, you can't miss that, right? That's the large audience reading event, I believe, from the comfort of your own home. And also on May 20th, he'll be in Anaheim, California, and he'll be doing an evening of spirit messages live. So, that's coming up May 20th. So lots of good things happening. I just want to share that with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
I said May,
what?
but I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I said May, but wait a minute. You have more? Wait a minute. Stop.
Yeah, you know what? It could actually be your browser. It's probably just did not clear off the old events. But honestly, I just have two
Tell us.
events.
Tell us your two events. Sorry, well, I got everyone's attention there.
I heard May too. I'm like, May. I go like,
I know,
wow.
I'm like,
May, I know. I knew my brain was sitting there trying to catch up, going, "What's going on here?" That's so funny.
There was a
Oh,
glitch,
wow.
with a glitch in the matrix. But here's so
Yeah.
I do have an event on the, oh my God, the 27th or 28th. It's an
Yeah.
online event. It's an online group reading. That is already sold out. We just announced one, I think last night or this morning. They do sell out within like 24 hours or less. So it's highly recommend to get those tickets. They are pocket friendly. They're $35 a ticket. They're about an hour and a half. Typically I go over in all my readings, all my events. It's very normal. So if you do have that time, you can log on via Zoom anywhere in the world to make a connection. Obviously it doesn't guarantee a reading, but it's an opportunity to receive a reading, but also have those connections with your loved ones on the other side. And there's also online events that we will be posting, in-person events that we'll be posting as well on the website event at ajbarrera.com.
Thank you so much for clearing that up. And just to share what AJ was telling me and Kelly earlier is that he may be having some classes coming up, in the next few months. He'll be posting it on his website, but he really is, you're a great teacher, AJ. And I think you're just so down to earth. I mean, it's easy to ask you questions. It's easy to hang out with you, and kind of pick your brain on all that's happening with psychic intuition or investigation or paranormal. So thank you for doing what you do. I mean, we really need that in the world right now.
Absolutely. And thank you both for, just being supportive of the work and myself and, just you guys being you, because you guys have this beautiful platform that you're allowing so many different people to share their knowledge, share their work. And we need more light workers. We need more people.
We need them.
Us three are just three people. If we can have thousands of people that can share their work of shaman work or healing or therapy, counseling, whatever it is, I'm blessed that I get to do this and also be with you guys, because again, we're light workers and we're not coming from a place of ego. We're coming from a place of love, but also sharing that awareness, because again, we're only one person and we need more people out there to spread the love out there.
Yes. Thank you so much, guys. We're going to be wrapping up here soon. Kelly, did you have anything else you want to say for tonight?
Just if you're still on hold, I'm sorry we didn't get to you. Try back next week. We'll be on in a week with Lori St. Clair. We'll be talking about evolutionary astrology. Oh my gosh, it's like a big word for me.
Big word.
And please tell Lori I said hello too.
Yes,
I haven't seen
her in years. Yes. So thank you so much, AJ. We enjoyed you on the show. Appreciate it.
You just
thank
awesome.
you guys.
You touch so many hearts today. Thank you so much, AJ Barrera. Thank you, Kelly Eckhart, for being
with you, Cheryl.
Always great to see you on Wednesdays. Everyone will be back next Wednesday on Seeing Beyond Living Transformed on Voice America and the Empowerment Channel. Have a wonderful week and be safe. We'll see you soon.